Hi, trumpet players. My name is Ben Aldridge. I teach trumpet playing and I conduct a chamber orchestra at Hartwick College. I'm very happy to congratulate you all on getting involved with the honor band this year. I'd like to take a few minutes to hopefully help you in your preparation for the rehearsing and performing that's going to go into that. So let's get right to it. One of the things that I like to do to make my practice work as efficient as possible is, first of all, to listen to the piece I'm going to be playing, which I know you all can do, and then to mark my part to make it as easy as possible to play it well. All right, and that's going to involve not just playing your part, but knowing your part well enough so you can pay attention to what's going on around you and obviously to the conductor as well. So I'm going to start with Still Water. It is a nice, calm, slow-moving piece, nothing really technically challenging. You can see that it starts off with a fair amount of rests. A problem trumpet players frequently have is keeping their place in a piece of music when there are a lot of rests to count. So I usually try and write in some cues to help myself out. So after the first 4 bars of this, the horns make an entrance here. In case you lose your attention over here, you'll be able to find your way back in right here. When you do come in, you're playing with the horns and the second trumpets. So, a lot of people playing the same pitches. Should be a nice mellow sound. You want to listen for the sonority, the combined sounds of all the trumpets and the horns while you're playing this line. And it builds up, and you play into figure number 16. The reason I've subdivided this rest is because there's a musical phrase that covers these 4 measures, and then another one begins here. It's very helpful to be able to think more musically when you are in the middle of a rest rather than just running your fingers and counting your way up to 4. So a second phrase starts in the second measure here. You come back in and play again. This is a long phrase. To get all the way through this, you can do that, but you're going to need to take a very good breath beforehand. So I put a breath mark and I circled it. Probably somewhere along beat 3 over here, I'm going to start taking a nice long, relaxed, deep breath so I can play very comfortably. Be careful that you don't crescendo too much because the clarinets are going to join you here. You'll hear that when you listen to it. So you want to make sure, once again, that you're making a nice sonority, a nice combined sound with the clarinets when you get there. All right, that's pretty much it for this tune. Second trumpets, some of the same markings in the music. Pretty much exactly all of the same markings. Third trumpets are a little bit different than trumpets 1 and 2. You have a little bit more rest at the beginning. You're going to hear the trumpets come in. What I've done here is in the 4th measure of this rest, the trumpets and actually the horns too, I believe, come in with 3/8 notes at the end of the bar. So when I'm counting this rest, when I get into the 4th measure, when I hear them come in, I know that there's just 2 more measures of rest, and then I'm going to come in and start playing. Join into the trumpet sonority. Once again, I've subdivided that in terms of the phrasing. Same deal here, nice big rest, listen for the clarinets. That's pretty much it when it comes to playing this piece, preparing it so that you're real comfortable playing it. Now, Foundry is a little bit more involved. It's a much faster piece. It moves along at a very good clip. Once again, I've subdivided the first rest. You're going to hear a musical event that goes on for 3 measures. Then you're going to hear it again. Once that happens, you're going to hear 1 more measure of music, and you're going to introduce yourselves with great strength. That's what fortissimo means, very strong, not just very loud. Forte piano, what I like to do when I have this figure, rather than just accenting the note or just sort of spearing the front of it, I want to play forte for about an 1/8 note, and then play piano. Bum, like that. So it'll be longer than just an accent at the beginning of the pitch. That's why he's written forte piano instead of writing an accent. Once again, when we get to letter A, now it's strong, not blowing the walls down. When you see forte, you should be playing comfortably. Nice full sound, not forced. Get a good breath, really fill up with air. Go along. He gives you a little place to breathe here. Take that entire beat for a nice relaxed breath in. Solely, what this means is that the second trumpets join you in playing these pitches. You're in unison with them there. All right, so that makes the ending of this figure a little bit stronger. a little more stark in the way that it sounds. Now, just before letter B, you have a whole note written here. What I've done is I've made it into a dotted half note and given myself an entire beat to take a breath so that when I come in, I can play comfortably. All of a sudden, the composer starts throwing these 2/4 bars into the middle of the piece. I want to make sure I don't get confused there, especially when I'm holding repeated pitches, which comes along later in the piece, like down here. So I just write 1, 2 over the top of that. I might either think 1, 2, 1, or 1 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, the other thing that I've done with the breathing is trumpets 1 and 2 play in unison through this passage. So what I've done is I've written in notes in the first two parts where the breathing is in different places. This is called staggering the breathing. If you want to copy these marks in and use them, that's great. If Dr. Pease would rather have you do something else, be sure and listen to him and follow along. The recording, you'll hear that the sound is very steady. So I'm guessing the trumpet players on that video did some staggered breathing so they could really keep the sound very seamless and strong. So be sure to observe these breath marks if you want to work on things that way. And it's important to do that in practice. You'll find that you'll be able to play all of this much more comfortably without wearing yourself out in rehearsal if you do it over and over again, if you're already used to doing the breathing comfortably as you go through here. All right, and once again, remember, never want to force the sound. It gets up to fortissimo here. That just means, think about fortissimo as being bigger than forte, not louder. Just a nice big fat sound. So you finish this whole passage. There's another 2/4 bar. I would put the 1, 2 in there. I missed that one. Now you've got 13 bars of rest. What's going on here, as is the case in many, many pieces of music, is there are phrases that are 4 measures long. That's very, very common. That's what we have here. A 4-bar phrase. You play the downbeat of the first bar and rest for the remainder of it. There are 2 more 4-bar phrases, and then another one where the horns come in the middle, leading into letter E. I'm confident that you're going to be much more comfortable, much more ready to play comfortably and musically if you can be thinking about the music the way that it lies, the way that it comes forward, rather than just counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, etc. That takes you out of the music. So if you can avoid doing that, that's a very good thing. Goes on. Now, good look at this. 1, 2, 3, pop. 1, 2, 3, pop. 1, 2, 3, pop. All right. This is a little tricky. It's very easy for trumpet players normally sitting in the back of the group to be a little late, a little behind the folks in the front, a little behind the conductor's beat. So when I have a passage like this, especially if they're repeated pitches like if here they're just all C's, I know I'm playing C's and I know I'm playing them for 3 bars. I'm just going to look up at the conductor, play these 3 measures, then get back down in the music. Same thing here. It's just a B natural and then the 3 C's. All right. Phrase ends here. You come in just before. The next 4-bar phrase, you're playing the same thing that you play down here. The only thing that's different is the last bar. As you practice that, play it over and over again in practice with a metronome. If you don't have one, there's a free app you can get on your phone. Definitely a good idea because this piece is very quick. 144 BPM. Letter G, we've been rocking it pretty good up through here. Now it's just mezzo forte. What's happening is trumpets are being added into the texture of the music at this point. So you don't want to just come in and stomp all over everybody. You want to just join what's going on. Definitely not any louder. And then you're going to build up and basically take over. This is a big unison. Everybody's playing the same rhythms here. Once again, we have a 4-bar phrase. You play in the first 3 of the bars, comes back, and you play exactly the same thing. If you know what these notes are, you can be out of the music, watching the conductor, out of the music, listening to the other players. It'll sound much better if you get to a point where you can do things that way. Now we're back again to a repetition of the sustained, strong-sounding music that you played over on page 1. Once again, I've noted the 2 4 bars and the breath spaces. Soli, this means once again that everybody in the section is playing the same pitches, just the same as it was before. All right, and the rest of it is pretty straight ahead. Second trumpet players, I have made some of the same markings. I wrote this over here so that you make sure that you get plenty of time. Take a nice relaxed deep breath, don't wait till the last minute, and ta, Nice relaxed breath, and off you go. All right. Same deal. So the breath marks here are in different places to accommodate the staggered breathing that I talked about before. Nice and easy after letter G. Same thing. Most of these markings are the same. Now, third trumpets, once again, as was the case with Stillwater, your part is a little different than the others. Same subdivision of this opening rest. First and seconds play on the downbeat. You play on beat 3. All right? That happens here as well. They play on the second beat. You play on beat 3. So don't be faked out by that when it comes along. Listening to the recording will be very helpful. All right? Same deal with the two 4 bars, and the same deal with the breathing. Same subdivision of the rests. You don't get the cue that they had before, so it's 3 plus 8 plus 4. Trumpets come in the middle of the 4th bar of this rest, if that's should be helpful to you keeping your place. This is a lot of rests. I would definitely get lost just counting these rests without these things written into the music. That's why I started doing that many years ago. Same deal here. They come in the 4th of these 5 bars, and then you join in and play in rhythmic unison with them. Now, this sustained portion, I've already spoken about it at a fair amount of length. One of the things that happens here is the notes that you're playing between the 3 sections, first, seconds, and thirds, are quite dissonant with one another at times. You're playing half a step apart some of the time. Don't be put off by that. Just make it your business to play right in tune. Notes right around here, E and D, these notes want to sound a little flat on the trumpet. You need to make sure that you keep them up to pitch. So you can think about that while you're playing them. Your staggered breath markings are there, and the rest goes forward. You don't really need much help with the rest of that. Thanks for your attention. I'm looking forward to hearing the recording of the final performance, and I hope that you take some of these ideas and use them in all of the music that you're playing. I found it very helpful in my own orchestra and opera and band playing. All right, have a great time, and thanks again.